Dr. Nicholas Wright. Written by Rob Gilchrist. Read by Lauren Post. "Tell me about your wife," the doctor asks in that smug tone only doctors and politicians seem to use. I must have faded off. That happens a lot in these sessions. Dr. Nicholas Wright is a dry companion. "What do you want to know?" I ask. "She's an amazing woman. I'm still not sure how I landed her. Rebecca could be a supermodel. We met in college through some friends. One of my buddies was dating her roommate. She came along for pizza and beer one night. Like I said, normally there would be no chance for a guy like me, but we were drinking and one thing led to another. The perfect set of random events." "Do you still think about Rebecca?" "Of course I do. Who doesn't think about their estranged wife?" Stupid question. "What do you feel when you think about her now?" My face wants to tighten to a grimace, but I won't let it. Dr. Wright is just trying to get under my skin again, get the real emotions out. Bullshit. Instead, I take a moment to pretend and think about the question. His office is very traditional, dark wood paneling and tan carpet. Diplomas line the wall over the fat wooden desk behind him. The chair he sits in is identical to mine, worn brown leather with gold trim. Dr. Wright crosses his legs, his tan slacks ride high, showcasing his argyle socks. Hovering over his pad and paper, he watches me through a set of thick lenses. "That's a good question. What do I think about her now? Sorry, I guess." "Bitch. She took my son with her. I have to wonder if it was my fault." I know that's what he wants to hear. Fucking quack. "Tell me about the night she left." "We've been over this. How many times do I have to tell this story? Does he get off on hearing about her leaving me?" "You're clenching." "Shit, I didn't even realize." Taking a breath, I loosen my hands and rub them across the cool leather. "This is your apex. It's why you're here, isn't it?" He smiles thinly, but it looks like a fat, greasy grin to me. Who's getting paid for being here again? "I had just finished bathing Alex and we were getting ready for dinner." "Alex, that's your son, correct?" He knows damn well who Alex is. "Right." I force out a half smile. Prick. "She had worked late again, so I was taking over daddy duties." "That's when you two started arguing?" "No, it wasn't like that. She changed, got out of her fancy work clothes into some sweats, and sat down to have a glass of wine while I worked on dinner." "But it got ugly pretty quickly." It's not a question. He already knows the answer. How many times do I have to go over the worst night of my life? "No, it didn't. It was civil and we had a good marriage." Who really has a good marriage? It was almost perfect. "But it was while you were cooking that you started arguing about your son and you got upset." I remember cutting onions and my eyes were burning. I wasn't in the mood for an argument, but that didn't stop her from bringing up Alex. And that's when things got physical. Staring at him hard, it was difficult not to get up and walk out, or grab the lamp off the table and give him a little bashing. "Let me talk." Things never got physical. She walked out and I could hear her looking for Alex. Was he enjoying hearing this again? But she couldn't find Alex. Another statement. He doesn't even need me here. He knows the whole story. Does he? And how did that make you feel? Her assuming you don't know how to watch out after your own child? Wright asks with a thin-lipped smile. I felt rage. I wasn't what? He's my son. I wouldn't let anything happen to him. She knew that. It wasn't a warm and fuzzy feeling, I'll tell you that. Of course he scribbles that down. How many pages does he have in there from our sessions? I glance toward the window, but it's not a window. It's a painting of snow covering a farm. I could have sworn there was a window in here. Never was. Have you always had that painting? The words are out of my mouth before I realize I'm asking him the question. Nicholas turns to the painting and smiles. No, that's newer. You must have missed it last time. It's been here for a couple of months, I think. Where did you get it? Something about it makes me think of home, the robust old-timey cabin. Come now, we're getting off task. We were talking about how Rebecca ran off to tend Alex. No, you were talking about that. I'd rather forget it. She ran up to the bathroom, and I guess he had made a mess of the place, I say. All I could hear was her screaming and telling me to stay away. That's when she called the police and left with him? Dr. Wright says, brushing a long piece of hair behind his ear. Had his hair grown that much since our last session? A tiny dot of blood stands against his pale skin. You cut yourself shaving. Squinting, another minuscule blot comes into view. What kind of doctor is that lousy with a razor? What kind isn't? She took Alex with her, right? He asks again, this time without the smile. Why is he ignoring the question? Is he embarrassed? Getting lazy? That's when she called the cops and put the whole thing into motion, yes. Closing my eyes, the house became clear in my head. The old, wide staircase with the thick carpeting, the dangling light fixtures shaking slightly as she runs up the stairs, and the screaming. Only her. She was hysterical, and she took Alex before I even made it up the stairs. Where did she take her son? His tone has changed. Yes, is he angry? I don't know. By the time I got up the stairs, she had already taken him out into our bedroom and locked the door. No, she didn't. Well, they weren't in the bathroom anyway. That's when she hurt her son. He keeps saying her son. He was mine too, all the while with that smirk. Wipe it off his face. I turn back to the painting, but it's gone. No, it isn't. A long window is in its place, and it's snowing outside. The house is still there, but it looks like it's broken down and abandoned. Breathe in, breathe out. Play it cool. He's messing with you. Toying with you. Yes, that's when she hurt him. No, she didn't. He stops to scribble in the notebook. The drops of blood have grown, and he has a 5 o'clock shadow. Those aren't shaving cuts if he's halfway toward a beard. Scrapes. What are you writing? I ask, trying to slow him down. Instead, he just shakes his head at me. One of those blood drops runs down a thick hair and plops onto the notebook. He doesn't even notice. Doesn't even see. I watch the paper absorb it. Are you all right? Fine. He doesn't look up. Where are his glasses? I scan the chair and table. Was he wearing them earlier? No. Why did you break down the door? He asks. The lights flicker and I have to rub my eyes. She wouldn't let me in. I wanted to check on my son. A sharp pain causes me to flinch and I realize I'm clenching again, cutting my palms with my fingernails. 4 small beads of blood swell up into crescent shapes on my palms. Are you all right? He asks. Does he sense my unease? Yes. Fine, I whisper. His clothes are different, no longer slacks. He's doing this on purpose. I lower my head and notice scratches in the linoleum floor. What happened when you broke into the room? How does he continue? Does he not feel as uncomfortable as I do? No. She was on the bed. This is the part I hate. I hate her. She had drowned Alex. I can feel tears, but I fight them back. Don't cry in front of Dr. Wright. Don't cry, sissy baby. She killed her son? He asks. I raise my head and he's smiling. The diplomas are gone. A large mirror runs across the far side of the room. That wasn't there before. Yes, it was. He was my son too. I played with him, I fed him, I bathed him. She just wanted him and nothing else. What do you mean she wanted nothing else? She didn't want kids. He's getting off on this. She attacked you, didn't she? He asked, tugging at his white scrubs. Wasn't he wearing a blazer? No. Attack me? Yes. No. She was going to take my life from me. My beautiful bride was ready to kill me too. Was she? So you had to fight for your life. He isn't smiling now. Leaning back, he glares at me from a gray plastic chair. The walls surrounding us have turned white. Yes, She killed our boy and was coming after me. The bathtub. You drowned her after stabbing her. I didn't stab her. Yes, you did. She slipped. I was still holding the knife from cutting the onions. My memory is betraying me. Do you remember Alex being born? He looks sad to have to mention it. I open my mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. His face eludes me. I was bathing him that night. No, you weren't. I remember the warmth of the water. Suffocating. Your wife didn't want children, did she? He asked through clenched teeth. Can he feel my anger? Yes. No, she didn't. She didn't want me either, just that stupid dog Alex. I scream at him, glaring into his eyes, but he's gone. All that's left is his voice coming out of my reflection. She didn't want you anymore, and you couldn't handle that. My reflection asks the question, but it already knows the answer. You never had children, did you? Of course I did, I lie. And you hated that dog almost as much as you hated her. I love my wife. Despise. Nicholas, someone shouts from across the room. Almost falling out of the seat, I twist toward the sound. A man is standing behind a large white door with a small opening in its center. He's holding something out to me. Rising, I go to him. There are 2 cups in his hands, and he nods as I take them. These will help you relax, Doc, he says. I have no words. Somewhere in my mind, I can still hear the office, but this room is bare and white with a long window on one side and a mirror on another, opposite a flimsy plastic chair. Where am I? I hear myself ask. The man on the other side of the door clears his throat uncomfortably, but doesn't answer. Those will make you feel better, Nick, he whispers. I believe him. Don't. I swallow the pills and chase them with a small shot of water. They feel cold and hard against my throat. I hand back the cups and he grunts some thanks. The opening in the door being shut. With nothing left to do, I slump back in my chair. My reflection stares back at me. When was the last time I shaved? 3 long scars line up against my left cheek close to the ear. Where did those come from? Struggle. I turn to watch the snow. It's peaceful. The medicine is strong. Maybe I should nap a little. Tell me about your wife, the doctor asks in that smug tone only doctors and politicians seem to use. I must have faded off. That happens a lot in these sessions. Dr. Nicholas Wright is a dry companion.
Dr. Nicholas Wright is presented by iPop Productions. Written by Rob Gilchrist. Read by Lauren Post. Presented to you on the Talking with Words podcast. Thank you for listening.
Are we recording?